Hello, everybody. I'm so honored to be invited to be part of this special night for you, especially here, and for me too. It is a big honor when I received the invitation to come to Scotland. And I have to tell you that they are always surprises. So my surprise happened yesterday because the children were singing with me from the opera of Boroughmuir that I was chosen in Theresienstadt. In Czech, it was named Terezin, and I was the cat 55 times. It was performed and later on used in the Nazi propaganda film because they loved us children and to show the world that they don't harm us. It was only a picture for something that we never believed that it will happen to be only a propaganda film, because we also didn't know what will happen to us. It started very early for me because I was born in Sudetenland, and when the Nazis took over Czech Republic the 15th of March, I never understood what will happen really. But I knew one thing, that we lived that time in Prague, and they called us as Jews to register in Prague. And there is one thing. They made us to buy this. We had to buy 3 pieces. This is the Jew in German, Jude. The people in Holland had written on it Jod. The French people, Jeff, but it meant the same. The first transport was young men to prepare this camp, but I don't know if you can imagine, but this Theresienstadt is a fortress, a big fortress, and it was given to Maria Theresia from her father, Joseph, and because she loved military, so the whole fortress really was for military. But as we came in, and I came in the first week of February 1942, long time ago. But very shortly, a lot of children came, and families, we were separated right away because thousands of people started to come from Europe. So the Nazis decided they move all the civilians out of the town, and they started to use it for people from European countries. And they decided that the children, and most of the children that time were from Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia at that time. So they decided to give us one building only for Czech children. And we were crowded there. But somehow the Nazis decided one day that because we were really young, I was 11, and they let us sing. They let us to write those wonderful poems that we know now from the book, I Never Saw Another Butterfly. And we had some wonderful art teacher and other teachers too, but this one was very special for me. Her name was Friederike Brandeis. She was an artist from Bauhaus. This was a very special art school for architecture and everything else. And I was excited when she would come to our room and gave us some papers that she found. So today people are wondering that we were really doing pictures on some forms from their offices, because she would go to their offices and say, don't destroy those papers. Those papers can be used by my children. So many of the children paintings, you can see the background is forms and different kind of papers. But she was already that time sure that the young children need a little support. And I have to say that she helped us also to survive. I have another thing that I don't know if you would recognize it somewhere, but that time, you know, the Nazis decided to give us numbers. Those numbers were hanging on our neck, but we were not allowed to use our names. So one day, our teacher, when we were really doing a lot of work, she said, children, you are not numbers. You have a name. Even that it's very dangerous, really. But I am telling you, please, write your name on those pieces of your paintings. And maybe this will help us to develop something very special. And she did. I have to say that I don't know what is it, but I remember and I hear her voice still now, after so many years. You know, my husband, when he started to cook for me, and my customers would come in the house and they would say, it smells so good in your house, because he was cooking the Hungarian way. But as my wife, what we had yesterday. And I said, Leo, what we had yesterday. So you see, he was telling people, you have to ask her what happened 60 years ago. Then she knows exactly what happened. But my cooking, I don't know. She always said she doesn't care for that. But this is not the point. I remember more what happened to me and to my friends really 70 years ago. We were children the same age in most of the rooms in Theresienstadt, and we were Czech children, and somehow I was very lucky. And in my room, the caretaker, she was a music teacher, and her best friend was a young man by name Gideon Klein. He was the youngest composer in Theresienstadt. And you know, he was composing for us kids, because this was allowed, music, Hebrew songs. But we didn't speak Hebrew that time. Now I speak Hebrew, because I was Israeli soldier. And so I remember all those songs, and now what they meant, and so I can translate them. But it was something very special. But very shortly, there was more musicians, wonderful musicians, the best of musicians in Europe. But they all came to the camp, and you know, today, because my good friend is, are, I have to say, good musicians, and they understand now that that music that was written in the camp is now performed in the whole world. And especially I have to say thank you. My friend Placido Domingo was that time, you know, director of the opera in Washington, D.C. And little later, James Scanlon, and I was traveling a lot with them because I remember all the musicians from Terazin. And they had special way how they did write music. Many of them weren't well, but still they found time after work to make those lines for their music. I remember only one time that there is one opera that was written by very famous, already before the war, musician. And this opera was written in German. So before they put it on stage, the German controlled what is sung and what is written, and they found out that this was really opera that was against Hitler, Kaiser von Atlantis. So it was never performed. There is music that probably people don't know how, but Verdi's Requiem was performed 16 times in the camp, but in Latin. Those Germans didn't understand that Raphael Schechter, the most wonderful musician, decided to sing it as many times as he could have, to show the Germans that the prayers are for that, not for us Jews, but for them. So now when you hear there is performed the final Verdi's Requiem through the whole world. So people start to understand why it was performed also in Theresienstadt. I am now talking about something what I was dreaming long time ago. You know, we were 15,000 children in Theresienstadt, and little by little, by October 28, 1944, all my friends were sent to Auschwitz. We were only 3 of us girls left in the room. I think this was my saddest day in my life. It was very hard for me now to say goodbye to anybody, to any friend, because the last goodbye was really goodbye to my friends. Only some of them came back with that march from my room. And you know, when they were going, they told us there is nobody to take care of us. If we had somebody who would take us in, like my mother with my sister, we was living in one little room that was for people that they were in agriculture department. And my mother, she was very young. She was only 31 years old. She never refused to work in anything. But you know why? Because she was the biggest thief. She was stealing from the German vegetables. And now we don't have little children, so I have to mention that she lost so much weight that her bra was loose, very big. So she was able to put in the bra 50 tomatoes. And she never squished any. But she was able, from people from Denmark, that they were getting packages and so, exchange for a piece of bread, sugar, sardines, whatever was available. And those people already were like her customers. And when it came a Jewish holiday, they would ask her for Passover. She should bring them, radishes and radishes with the green and with earth that they should be really for the holiday. But one day, the Nazi women stopped the whole group of women from the outside, from the field. And they said to undress, and they started to look what they bringing into the ghetto. But my mother was smart. My mother was really smart, and she was trying to be the last one to undress, because she started to eat the radishes with the green, with the earth, with everything, until came her, the time that they wanted to see. She didn't have anything. And next to her was a young girl crying, "I can't do it. I can't eat them. I can't get rid of it." So my mother said, "Give them to me." And she ate also hers. But she saved her life. Because when you were caught by stealing a little thing, you were sent or to the small fortress to be killed, or to Auschwitz. So my mother saved a lot of people. This I want to tell you. But one thing, I don't know if I have time. Okay? Yeah? Okay. When all my friends were put into a transport, and this was in October 16, it was terrible. I was with the 3 girls alone in the room, starting to put together something to take with me to get dressed in it or so. And I found on the bed of my very good friend a little booklet, because there was no money to have regular diaries. And she called that booklet Shechna. It means everything, but everything. Because she was a very good girl to do beautiful poems. She put it in, and we learned a little bit English. She put it in, and I think what was very important later to know, her father's letter, and her father saying to her how she should continue with everything. He didn't survive. But I said, I knew about Shechno because I tell you the truth. I heard from another friend that she wrote in that book, My First Love in Terezin, the boy's name and everything. I didn't read it. I never opened it to read. But I took her Shechno, her everything, and I was only hoping that the last day of goodbye will not be that I should not see them. And they came back to Terezin after 6 months, unrecognizable, without that much. And when I had opportunity to talk to her, I was holding something behind me, and I said, Hannah, I have something for you. And I think she was in such a condition anyway, but she couldn't understand what I have for her. And I gave her her shechna, her everything. I thought that she is dying. She was so surprised. She couldn't believe that I saved her shechna, because it reminded her on friends, on her poems, and I just don't want to talk about it too long because they will throw me out. But now she donated this shechna in Israel to our place, Bet Terezin, in Givat Chaim, and they made over it a book. But I have to say, everywhere, all the times, she mentioned that Ella saved her shechna. So I was waiting for the book to come, that I be able to let people to see it and, to read from it something, but it didn't come from Israel. It was not time for it, probably, to send it to me. But now, from the 15,000 children of Terezin, we survived 100 of us. I'm one of the 100. But what I'm really known now for is that I was chosen to sing in the children's opera Boroughmuir. I was the cat, and I sang 55 times. I didn't want to give anybody my part in Boroughmuir. But I was very happy, and there is another thing, that we didn't have to wear the Jewish star when we were singing on stage of Boroughmuir. But little by little, children were sent away, and Boroughmuir and the children paintings and the poems from the book, I never saw another butterfly. It's the only legacy of the children of Terezin. But there was so many children from Bialystok that they brought them to Terezin and they sent them to their death. So millions of Jewish children were murdered for no reason, only that they were Jewish. They could have been artists, they could have been something to give this world. They're not here, but I'm speaking in their voice. We can't forgive what the Nazis did to us. Mr. Wiesenthal told me, I met him in Los Angeles, and he said, we can forgive them. They knew what they want to do with us. And he can't succeed with anything anymore. No Nazi will be alive till I find him. And he was doing it till his death. So now, we are still alive, little old, but sometimes I'm thinking, what I feel bad about, that such a world is today, that the children are always in the middle of something that they are killed. If it's Rwanda, if it's Bosnia, we lost so many wonderful children. So now we should never forget them and remind children in school that, you know, I had only one grade, the first grade and a little bit of the second grade. And I came out, I was 15 years old. I said, what I will do? I will go to second grade. I was a child that in concentration camp, what my friends will say. But, you know, there I did something. My uncle wasn't Jewish, and he came to see if we survived in Terezin, and he took me with my sister to my aunt to a town of Kolín, and my sister said right away she wants to go to Prague because this was her place, and my aunt said, okay, and I said, can I go to school? And my aunt looked at me and she said, you can't go like that to school. We have to make you dress, we have to buy shoes. I had only the wooden pieces of wood to walk out. And then she said, but Ellen, you are so skinny. So look what she do to me, you know. But I'm happy even with that. I had to go a couple times on diet to Weight Watchers and all that. But this is not the first thing. One thing I have to tell you, I lost a lot of friends. But I'm gaining now. Everywhere I go. New friends I found in Scotland. New friends that they are so nice. Here, you know, they're sitting here and we love each other. So I had one poem and one song in Terezin by a very nice lady, very talented. Her name was Ela Weissberger. She became a nurse for babies. She smuggled into Terezin guitar. And when I was passing to meet my mother when she was still living in a barrack, she was taking those babies out, playing and singing for those babies. So I loved her songs. And I had a baby too. She's sitting here in Israel. And I felt that she should feel what I felt always about friends. She had a lot of friends, and I translated in my not such a good English, you know, this little poem. And I would like to tell you that my new friends, and to finish this little poem to tell you that. And you and I, and we are friends. And you and I, and we love each other. In Terezin we met, friends in need, hand in hand. And you and I, friends we still be. And you and I shall never forget. So please, remember also my friends. And I thank you that you had patience to listen to me. Okay. Okay.